And the things that we need, the systems that are in place to do, they're not really doing those things, or they're doing those things with tremendous waste and destruction.
What can we do?
And I think your point is a really good point.
What can we play?
Oh my goodness, the options are nearly infinite. What kind of things would you like to play?
I don't know. Something outside.
Outside? Well, that's good. It's clear about that thing.
Hide and seek.
We could just bounce the trampoline.
You could bounce on the trampoline? What else?
Playing volleyball, but I don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that? Well, you know then.
Okay, bounce the trampoline.
Bounce the trampoline? Sorry. We have our own answers, you know.
Yeah, we already know what we want.
Just need the reflection.
Yeah.
Just need somebody to sort of reflect that.
Yeah.
You know? So I hear that, I see that, okay, I get that, you know. And that makes human interaction actually much more essential, and that reflection and that presence. Relative to wanting the space and time to simply just be together, we need certain systems in order to facilitate living. You know, if you look at many indigenous tribal societies or hunter-gatherer societies, their work is about 3-4 hours a day, out of a 24-hour day, and the rest of the time they spend being together, essentially. And it's, again, 100,000 generations of humans and more live to live. They didn't live to grow, or they didn't live, you know, we've got this sort of growth mentality now for 3 generations or 4 generations, this idea that you work to build up this in terms of acquisition, in terms of assets. And yeah, we just can't do that anymore. And the vast majority of the world, the human population, didn't and isn't doing that, you know, because we're moving away from the idea that growth is the point to life, or that there is an inherent point to life at all. You know, I don't know that these people have an inherent point to life. What is the point of a flower?
To live.
I guess. You have to ask it. But I don't know what its point is. But they keep coming. And they die. And they do that with they seem to do that with such freedom. You know, this is what humans don't do. They don't rise and fall with that same kind of seeming freedom to do so. You know, it's a kind of struggle.
And I mean, we do have meetings, we do have communal events, you know, we do share on those levels, but we're not a community, and there's no obligation to be a community. That's a kind of a key. We're an eco-village, we're not a community.
Right, yeah.
We have communal elements, and we do community stuff together sometimes, but we're not specifically a designated intentional community, which personally, having lived in intentional community, I think is a much healthier model and a far more sustainable model.
What were the difficulties you found with intentional communities in the past?
Other people?
Yeah.
Yeah? When you're living together, eating together, working together, processing together, it gets really intense.
Yeah.
It gets really, really intense.
Yeah.
And different, you know, some people have big personalities, some people have, you know, anger management issues, some people, you know, have whatever, emotional stuff. And it's all really in your face when you're living in an intentional community. When you're living in a village, yeah, you may not like your neighbours very much, you may like them sometimes, you know, you can get on with them, be cordial, you know, do your stuff you need to do together, but you come back onto your plot and this is your space. Nobody will come in here and say, oh, why are you potting up your lettuces? Surely you should be, I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
It's ours, and we make the decisions. When you try to have to make all your decisions communally, things can get really tricky.
Yeah.
They get
conflict between the community and the individual, I guess, is always something that comes into play.
And I think in Western society, we're not, you know, I think there's other parts of the world where communal living is very much still within living history, and the people's still, the kind of the structures are still in place to actually be able to work on that level. But I think in the Western society, we're so far removed, and individualism is such a kind of a key kind of goal that we're all, taught to aspire towards. That to live communally is actually a really kind of tall order, and people don't always manage it that well.
Yeah.
In spite of their best intentions, it's not always easy to do. So, yeah. Not being fully dependent on society as a whole and sort of food structures as a whole to be able to feed myself, generating my own electricity, drinking my own water, those kinds of things, those are dear to me. But I don't want to escape from the rest of humanity, I don't think, that notion of being an island and separating yourself off just doesn't make sense to me, because, if you guys sink, we're going to sink. We're not... we're in it together. Everybody's in it together. So it's finding a way that that works for everybody, really, not just for us, And it is about being close to nature. It is about potting up seedlings, which I love doing.